I have gone ahead. I've taken the amplifier, the AM and FM radio and phono amplifier out of the Zenith Cobramatic console, and I've gone ahead and replaced the capacitors, the electrolytics, and also most of, I think pretty much all of the tubular paper capacitors that were in this thing. But as I had mentioned, it was completely dead. There was absolutely nothing. All I got was light. The pilot light's lit. This resistor, which mounts on the chassis, this side of it was open. I have this ceramic resistor on it, which I think will fix why this thing was dead. But this side, this resistor here checks okay. It's a center tap wire wound resistor. Now I've replaced those same kind of resistors in Lowry organs. Lowry organs use those kind of resistors that bolted right to the chassis. And those things are notorious for opening up. I'm almost thinking that I probably should do this side right away, but it tests perfectly fine. And I'm going to leave it for now. But I did replace all the capacitors. That's number one for starters. Now, let me set this thing down. The tubes all test good. And it's got a pair of 6 V6 tubes for audio output. That's pretty good. Look at the size of the power transformer. This is no small little radio. The tone controls plug into this socket right here. They're still in the cabinet. I'll have to clean the contacts on those if I can get at them, and I think I can. But there's a big problem. Let me see if I can get the light down a little closer. There's a big problem, and that is that the tuning the tuning slips, the dial cord. Now this has 2 dial cords on it. The dial cord in back actually operates a capacitor, but there's also this pulley here which operates the indicator to show you what frequency you're on. And what is wrong is this pulley right here is froze up. It's completely frozen. You can't move it. It's frozen. So I'm going to correct that. And I'm getting close to, when I get that corrected, I'm getting pretty close to testing it. Here is the coax output to the Cobramatic tone arm, which works on FM. I believe the cartridge is capacitance, but it's FM. It's not a typical ceramic or a magnetic cartridge in a Cobramatic. But like I say, the big problem is I got to unfreeze and I got to free up this dial cord and get that all working correctly. So that'll be the next phase of my operation of working on this amplifier. Okay, I've got this thing taken apart somewhat, and I'm going to use some DW or WD-40 and also maybe some other oils, and I'm going to just try to work it in and out of there to lube up that shaft. I don't want to take it apart all the way because I think this dial cord, for one thing, is good. And I don't want to snap it, and I don't want to take it off of there because I don't want to risk having to restring it. If you've ever restrung these things, it's a job. It's not easy to do it. It looks easy, but it isn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep working this gently back and forth, and I got it pretty loose now to the point where it will operate again. And so I've managed to get it working. I've loosened that shaft and oiled it enough without taking the dial cord off. You notice that when I tune, there are these 2 coils that get adjusted at the same time. Notice this? See it, the coils go up and down. Very interesting. It's a very interesting radio. Okay, well, here's what I've done so far. I've got all the capacitors replaced. Tubes are all tested, they're all good. I've managed to free up the dial so that it works the way it should. Goes back and forth real nice. I don't know how well calibrated it is, but it works. And I've used deoxit on the Q-tips to clean those 4 wafer switches. Wafer switches of vintage electronics is the scourge of those days, because as they aged and got old and dirty, they crackled and popped and hissed. Electronic switching, of course, has solved that problem with modern technology, with electronic switching and voltage-controlled amplifiers and so forth. So the next step is to bring this up on a variable power supply and test it. This radio has problems, and I'm hoping I can sort it out. I took this thing off. This was absolutely no good. It was actually shorting out to ground inside. And I put these resistors in, as you see here. But there's a problem, at least one problem in this IF. I've got the can off. The can came off quite easily, and I noticed that the screw is quite loose that holds it in place. The screw down in the center of it. Something's wrong here, and I think someone else worked on this thing years ago and either couldn't fix it or fixed it so nobody can. I don't know, but we'll find out. There's a bad connection somewhere in this first IF right here. That's right here. It's supposed to be minus 8 volts, and we have, or minus 0.8 of a volt. We have 0.8 volts plus. But if I move this ever so slightly, and it goes down to minus 0.6 volts. So there's a broken connection here somewhere that I've got to find. We'll see if I can find that. Okay, I found something definitely wrong. Voltages are high, some voltages are low. I still think there's a problem in this IF can. This IF can is not right. There's something not correct with it, but the main problem that I found is this is supposed to be an 820 ohm resistor. Now, if you look at that thing, you would think it's a capacitor. It's not. It's an 820 ohm resistor. I can see it on the schematic, and this is supposed to solder right there, and it's not. It's loose. It was loose from there. I'm proud to say that that's not my... I never touched this part of the circuit. I never worked on this. These capacitors that I put in have nothing to do with this connection right here, but this is supposed to solder to that. It's 820 ohms. You'd think that was a mica capacitor, but it isn't. That would be violet, red, and brown. It's an 820 ohm resistor, clearly on the schematic. Never saw a resistor like that, but it measures 820 ohms, and I'm going to solder it back on and see what I get. Well, we're closer. I can tune radio stations, but it's not very loud. It's still got things wrong with it. I got to sort out. Okay, I've got the radio temporarily put back in, but I know I'm going to have to pull it out again because I'm sure that one IF can, I'm sure there's a problem with the silver mica capacitors in it. But it does tune FM stations. So the radio is working. Let me try AM. AM doesn't seem to be very...
I shared with you the 3 stories.
Sensitive. So there's other problems with this radio. Hardly finds any stations there. There's something not right with the AM. But the FM works pretty good. Now the Cobramatic, you hear that hum? I can't figure out what's causing that hum. I just, I don't know if there's a bad ground. I'll have to figure that out, but I have a Monte Kelly record on, which might be a typical record of the day. It's called Doreen. I remember hearing this very record when I was a kid. It's kind of a romantic little waltz. Monte Kelly and his orchestra. That would have been a popular record that would have been played during the days when this TV and record, phonograph and radio were all brand new within the 50s. But there's problems. I've got that hum, and I know that IF can, it's the last IF gets in the FM section. It's the last IF can before the discriminator. And I know that if I check it with my voltmeter, if I wiggle it in just the right position, instead of a negative voltage, I get a positive voltage, which means that those silver mica capacitors are either shorting out or opening up or both. So I have to deal with that, and that's not easy to deal with. But the radio does work. I got the Cobramatic working. It has the blue and red cartridge in it. So I still have to do work on the radio. It's only set in here temporarily. Everything works. This equalization all works. So, at least I've made some progress on this blasted thing. Boy, that radio was really a challenge to work on. And it still is. I still have to do something with that IF, and there's that hum, that ground loop hum. I don't know what would cause that. Yeah, I think it almost has something to do with the AM loop in it, but I can't be sure. If I take the AM loop off, the hum seems to go away. It's also very confusing. I don't know, but anyways, this thing so far has gone from a totally non-working unit to I can play records, and I can play FM pretty decently on the tuner. The TV is another story. I haven't even looked into that yet. That's the next step, so there's going to be at least several more parts to this project. How soon I'll get to it, I don't know. I still have my orthophonic Victrola project waiting for me to start stripping and refinishing it. But anyways, this thing actually does work. And you too can have one of these and listen to Monte Kelly play Doreen, like I remember when I was a kid. And it'll play it over and over and over. Thanks for watching. Look for the next part on this unit.